Many of the candidates in California's recall election took their campaigns to church.
Governor Newsom and top GOP contender Larry Elder are among those using this strategy as a way to reach some of the state's more conservative voters. It's Elder's campaign specifically that has seen a boost from this particular voting bloc leading up to today's election. For more, let's bring in Faith Pinho. She is a reporter for the Los Angeles Times. Faith, welcome. So talk to us about the overall impact houses of worship can have both on an election and how candidates speak about certain issues.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. We've seen houses of worship make such a big impact in this recall election, as you mentioned, particularly in Larry Elder's campaign. He has made a concerted effort to reach out to mega evangelical churches across the state of California throughout the campaign. I've honestly lost count of how many mega churches he's been to. It's probably close to a dozen. But he comes to these churches sometimes on off nights. I went to a Sunday service where he attended all three services and essentially spoke in lieu of a regular Sunday sermon to the congregation. And, you know, there are certain issues that evangelical voters are known to support, and they have come through strong in the state election. Those are, you know, abortion rights, which Larry Elder says do not really figure into his campaign, although he does support overturning Roe versus Wade and returning the governing of abortion rights to states. Another is teaching sex education in schools, which he doesn't support, and evangelicals appreciated that. And also supporting kind of the rights of churches to hold services amid the pandemic. These are all big issues that he touted at churches across the state.
In addition to that, what are some of the other most pressing issues for communities of faith in California right now?
Well, the right of churches to hold services is a big one, and it figured prominently among evangelicals that I reported on throughout this campaign. Last year, during the pandemic, the state shut down churches and did not allow them to hold services because of the disease, right? And so a lot of churches were upset. Some continued to hold services in defiance of these orders, and continued to hold them even when the state went into lockdown again over the winter. The Supreme Court eventually ruled that churches did have a right to keep their doors open amid the pandemic, that it was part of their First Amendment right. And so churches heralded that as a victory, and also as a reason to be upset with Governor Newsom for even shutting them down in the first place.
And you answered my next question. I mean, how have candidates, especially GOP candidates, been using the pandemic's impact on houses of worship to their advantage?
That's a big one. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of evangelical or other religious communities kind of back away from getting involved in politics. But a lot of the people in churches whom I spoke to said, hey, we didn't have a choice. The government came into the church when they decided to shut down our doors. And so they took that as, you know, we can't stand by the sidelines any longer. We have to do something about this.
Well, the separation of church and state is very clear in the Constitution, yet you've just talked about Larry Elder speaking from the pulpit. So does that raise any ethical concerns?
You know, it depends on who you ask. I talked to a bunch of people about this question in my reporting. And, you know, for the candidates, they were kind of just taking any opportunity they could to court large audiences, and churches and other houses of worship have kind of natural large audiences, especially some of these mega churches. So for the candidates, of course, they don't see any issue with separation of church and state. Some of the pastors I spoke to who welcomed these candidates in said, this isn't an issue of separation of church and state. Christians and, you know, people of their religions have to vote with their conscience. This is a moral issue. One of the churches that I attended Sunday services at, Destiny Christian Church up in Rockland, California, Pastor Greg Farrington told me, Gavin Newsom is an immoral governor, and we have to vote out an immoral governor. So for him, he didn't see any issue with that. Now, I went to another campaign event that was for former Mayor of San Diego, Kevin Faulconer, and that was supposed to be held in front of a church. But it turns out the church said, hey, can you move down the street? We don't want to do anything that could jeopardize our nonprofit status by blurring those lines between church and state. So it's kind of a mixed bag, depending on who you ask.
Interesting. Well, what are some other ways that you've seen churches get involved in this political fight, aside from hosting certain candidates?
Posting candidates is certainly one way. There is one megachurch pastor, Jack Hibbs, who he is credited with prodding Larry Elder to enter the race. And I think you can kind of see some of his influence behind the scenes with Elder's campaign. I spoke to a Jewish synagogue in Los Angeles, the community organizing director, who said, we don't do anything partisan, although they do a lot of sort of get out the vote efforts and phone banking. So they have members of their synagogue calling other members of their synagogue to remind them, hey, September 14th is election day. Don't forget to fill out your ballot. Do you have any questions? They weren't giving advice exactly on how to vote, but they were making sure that their congregants were, had the resources to do what they needed to do.
Interesting to hear about this dynamic. Faith Pinho, Faith, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Happy Election Day in California.
Happy Election Day.